Didi, and thank you for inviting me. I'm very excited and happy to be here today. So I'm going to start sharing my screen so we can create together a project. Going to share. So we're going to start this project that I'm thinking so we can start all together is going to be based on an R6 Y3. It's important to say that the program is not limited to New York City. You can design anything, anywhere. But for this exercise, I'm going to stick to R6. So we're going to give it a name to our project. I'm going to say 34th Ave. Since it's R6 Y3, I expect to have 6 to 7 stories. I'm going to say 7 floors, and then R6 Y3, and the maximum building height, we're going to say 75 feet. This is going to be a 2-corner lot. We can either choose the 2-corner lots, or I can say corner lot next, and then here we can change it to street. So you can make changes after. Doesn't have to do it right away. Here, I'm going to change the street to white, and we can also name the streets. So now Arc, okay, I'm going to go back. I forgot this. I'm going to make my lot 200 feet wide by 160 feet. Okay, now Arc, we can choose here the typical floor plate that we want. So this is the suggestions that we can choose from right corner, rectangle, or left corner L shape. In this case, I'm going to go with the U shape. I'm going to go next. So based on Arc gives me many options. We can choose any options that we feel more comfortable, or we can just use a blank shape, and then we can put our stairs locations and our core. So I'm going to choose this one, and I'm going to generate. And here, I'm going to detach the first floor. And then on the top floors, I'm going to generate my apartments. But before that, I'm going to select this lot lines wall to be solid so it doesn't give me any apartments windows on that lot line. And I'm going to generate. Since the building is substantially large, I'm going to go with percentage. Usually owners don't want to see a lot of studios. Usually we go with 25% studios, 45% one bedrooms, and 30% 2 bedrooms. We wait until it generates, and we see Arc has any options.
Olympia, maybe you can show the unit settings and while it's generating, because it's a big floor plan. I think it will take a bit.
Yeah, I think that's one. Okay. So in the unit settings, we can set the limits or the minimum, inches that we need for the rooms and the square footage of the apartments. Okay, so I'm going to say apply select, And then I'm just gonna quickly look how it looks outside. And then I'm going back to my floor plan. For this, I want to limit myself to 200 units. And so I'm going to make some changes to the exterior. So we give the apartments some depth and it looks different. Okay, so I'm going to detach the top floor. And we're going to make some changes here. I'm going to make some setbacks. Around 5 feet. It depends on also square footage setbacks that we want to create. You can create it easily with Arc. I'm going to generate this corner of apartments and I'm going to go 45 and 30. In this case, Arc is giving me two options and I'm going to go with the left side and then make changes. So here you see this studio is too small. So I'm going to delete it and then I'm going to regenerate this apartment. This is giving me a 4 bedroom. And instead of keeping that 4 bedroom, I can push around some walls and make better apartment size. And this one, it creates a 3 bedroom. Instead of 3 bedroom, we can also remove one room. So we have a realistically space for either a big bathroom or kitchen. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to set it back. And I'm going to bring it down to match my other side. There. And we can generate all these apartments one by one. We can just delete these lines and then we generate the entire section together. And 30. Here I see that I got two small studios and you can change and delete the walls between apartments to make sure some of the square footage makes sense for what we're looking for. In this case, these two studios are very small, so I'm going to delete those and make it more realistically here. So instead of one small studio, I make a nice 1 bedroom apartment. So you can move around walls and create apartments as you see here. Instead of a percentage, I'm going to create 1 bedroom apartment. So here I have my typical floor. And then the top floor, I'm going to set it completely back. Here in the front, I'm going to just have small dormer between them. and those rooms are bigger. And here, I'm going to, instead of one apartment, I'm going to make it two. Here, I'm going to check my 3D. This looks better than just a simple box. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to work on my first floor. My first floor, we're going to create our exits towards the street. I'm going to change this to solid wall. And the front of the building is going to be, instead of residential, is going to be a community facility. And the part in the back, we're going to create more apartments. And we're going to make some, and then we're going to move to the cellar for studios, 45. So for this building, we are assuming no parking. If we would have parking, we would have created our driveway. So I'm going to go back to the section and I'm going to create cellar. So I can click on the cellar and it copies the first floor. So we do have to make changes. For the front, instead of community facility, we're going to go back to residential and call it mechanical. Usually, sometimes a lot of owners don't like to be, the seller doesn't want really be on the lot line. So we can set this in. And so you can make changes at the seller level. The apartments, no apartments on the seller. So we're going to delete all these and create rooms or the area for amenities or residential. So this one is an AI generate. We can create amenities. And this one, okay, that's a one amenity. And we're gonna say storage. We can delete the apartments one by one, or we delete the walls, or we can just pull the wall and make everything storage. We can separate the rooms and call this more mechanical rooms. And then we go here. This is our first floor. I'm gonna check if my happy. Some layouts. It seems that is correct. My typical floor. Some smaller. We can push corridor. Let's say on this apartments. And I can push this corridor this way to give more room to these apartments. So you can move walls around to make it fit your design. And here is the 3D. I wanted to be myself within 200 units. I am 193. We can create more units, change some of the bigger units and make it make it 2 units instead of one. We can also here, if depending on the square footage, the zoning square footage permitted. For in this case, for this one, I am allowed 96,000 square feet for residential area. So we are very close. We can use deductions. This is where we can get the deductions. Let's say I want to do deductions for corridors around 500 square feet. And then when I go on my building numbers and information, I can see here down here, 127. Let me just quickly check. Okay, first floor. Yes. And 100. And this is where we come and see how far we are from our maximum permitted building area, and then we can make changes. And it's way easier than doing by hand, because in case that my gross is too high, I can just easily remove one floor, and you can see how my gross floor area changes, instead of, when we do it by hand, that we have to redo things and it takes longer and this takes less time. And this is our 3D. When we decide to do 6th floor instead of 7. So thank you. I hope you guys learned something today.
Thank you so much, Olympia.